Want to learn how to win an Oscar in 5 minutes? Stay tuned.
Hi, Jeff here from M2C2. In my previous video on expansion, I talked about the beginning of psychological gesture in the Chekhov technique and how you can use expansion to create a feeling or build characterization for your work as an actor. In case you missed it, click above. You won't be super confused if you opt not to watch it and continue watching this video, but it might help. Just as a quick review, the psychological gesture is the golden key of the Michael Chekhov technique. It's what actors such as Jack Nicholson, Anthony Hopkins, and Patricia Neal have used to extraordinary effect in their work. Basically, the concept behind it is pretty simple. Psychological and physical action are one and the same, and each can be used to build on and access the other. Again, your psychology and your body are one and the same and cannot and should not be thought of as separate, unconnected entities. When you are sad, there is a physical response to sadness. Your stomach contracts, tears might begin to form, your body feels heavier. When you're happy, your body might feel as though it is expanding. Your face widens, your heart leaps with joy. Look at the idioms we use for happiness and sadness. When we are happy, we burst with joy, jump or leap for joy, be footloose and fancy-free. We might be on cloud 9, in seventh heaven, over the moon, or walking on air. When we are sad, we might be down in the dumps, down in the mouth, closed off. Or we might have a heavy heart, fall apart, fall to pieces, have a sinking feeling. The English language is already very good at giving directionality and describing our feelings in a physical way. The Chekhov technique is not inventing anything new with its concepts of expansion and contraction. It simply reminds you of the stuff you already know. Most importantly, executing a psychological gesture is intended to awaken sensations and feelings within the actor to easily and quickly access truthful emotion, characterization, and objective for the actor to use in their work. It is a healthy, creative, and yes, fun way to find connection with even the darkest material the actor is asked to work with. Let's try this. Find a spot in the room you're in where you can freely move your arms while standing still, your circle of concentration. Now I invite you to begin crouching down, bending your knees and bringing your head to rest on top of them or as close as you can without straining. Grasp each arm around your legs and imagine that you are continuously shrinking into yourself. Again, do only what you are physically able. Do not strain or hurt yourself. Continue to breathe. Even after you have reached the limits that your physical self is able to do, continue to imagine yourself getting smaller and smaller, shrinking into yourself. Smaller, smaller, smaller. Now, continuing to keep the mental image of this contraction, I invite you to return at your own pace to your home stance, how you stand normally. Keep the image of your contraction. Begin to walk around your space. Find things to do in this space. Sit down, stand up. Grab an object and use it how you see fit. How is your worldview affected within the contraction? What feelings and sensations are conjured within this exercise? When you are ready, stop, unwrap it, and put it away. Many of my students are glad to be rid of contraction when they are done with it. It is not uncommon for sensations of sorrow, depression, or pensiveness to be awakened within the actor during this exercise. That being said, I have had actors claim to feel a sense of comfort or safety through contraction as well. As with all psychological gestures, the sensations awakened within the actor are determined entirely by that actor's creative individuality. It is possible to contract into something lovingly, just as it's possible to expand into grief. What's important is that the actor be able to note what the gesture does for them so they can reuse the gesture for their future work. There is no right or wrong here. Your creative individuality will always determine how you find a truthful approach to the work. That being said, gesture does not exist within a vacuum, and the actor can begin to play with how the gesture can affect their psychology by experimenting with the strength and quality of the movement. The strength of the gesture is determined by the tempo, rhythm, and resistance that the actor chooses. In other words, how fast the gesture is executed, whether the gesture is short and sharp or smooth and connected, and whether the gesture has a feeling of heaviness or lightness stirs our willpower in general. For example, a strong sense of urgency and need can be awakened by a fast, staccato, and heavy expansion. The feelings that are stirred by the gesture are determined by its quality. The quality of movement determines whether the gesture is executed with a quality of molding, flying, flowing, or radiating, and can make each effort feel vastly different. The three sister sensations of feeling, falling, floating, and balancing, also work to diversify the effect of the gesture. I hope to explain qualities and sensations in future videos. Finally, of course, the kind of movement that is being performed awakens within the actor a specific corresponding desire or objective. It should be noted here that this is why expansion and contraction are not listed as archetypal psychological gestures, as they are not linked with a specific tactic or objective. They are useful in discovering emotional truth, but they are very different from archetypal gestures like push, pull, embrace, lift, or smash. The latter have strong implications of doing something to the other on stage with you. Expand and contract are generally limited to the actor's self. In any case, using psychological gesture, the actor begins to become sensitive to the creative impulses occurring both from within the actor's body and psychology and from external tangible and intangible sources such as the actor's scene partner and the imagined atmosphere of the scene. Now, let's look at this in practice with Chekhov actor Beatrice Straight's Oscar-winning performance in the movie Network.
How long has it been going on?
So it's very difficult to separate Beatrice Straight from Michael Chekhov. She brought Michael Chekhov over from Europe to the United States, had worked with Michael Chekhov for decades and decades, and had studied and been essential to Michael Chekhov's work here in the United States. She won an Oscar for this role in the movie Network for just over 5 minutes worth of work.
Want me to leave?
A good Chekhov actor does not show their homework, so I'm going to point out where I think she might be imagining a contraction or imagining an expansion and using that for her work.
Grateful I can feel anything.
There you have a short staccato contraction.
I'm obsessed with her.
She's contracting in, now she's expanding.
Say it.
Expanding.
Keep telling me that you're obsessed, that you're infatuated. Say that you're in love with her.
I'm in love with her.
Get out!
Oh, flying
Go where you want.
expansion.
Go to a hotel,
Flying
go live with her,
expansion
and don't
here.
come back. Because after 25 years of building a home and raising a family and all the senseless pain that we have inflicted on each other, I'm damned if I'm going to stand here and have you
She's
tell me you're in love
floating
with
the
somebody else.
expansion to her actor.
Because
her
this isn't
partner.
a convention weekend with your secretary, is it? Or some broad that you picked up after 3 belts of booze. This is your great winter romance, isn't it?
Super expansion
Your
there. Did you see it?
last roar of passion before you settle into your emeritus years. Is that what's left for me? Is that my share? She gets the winter passion and I get the dotage. What am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sit home knitting and purling while you slink back like some penitent drunk? I'm your wife, damn it. And if you can't work up a winter passion for me, the least I require is respect and allegiance.
Contract. Molding contraction into herself. You can see her physically do it.
I hurt, don't you understand?
Still molding that contraction into herself.
I hurt badly. Oh, say something for God's sake.
Was that an expansion or a contraction? What do you think?
I won't give you up easily, Max. Perhaps it is better if you move out.
This is the sum total of what she won the Oscar for.
I'm
would
not
definitely
sure
be a
she's
pull.
capable of any real feelings. She's television generation. She learned life from Bugs Bunny. The only reality she knows comes to her over
Once
the
again,
TV
the actor does not show the work here. The
very
actor
carefully
lives the
devised
work.
a number of
They, in
scenarios for all of us
practice,
to play.
they expand or
Movie
contract.
of the
They
week.
imagine themselves expanding and contraction. But you don't need to
God, look at us,
show
please.
that expansion and contraction
Here we are
when
going
you
through
get
the obligatory
to the
middle of
work, when
Act
you
Two,
get in
scorned
front of
wife throws
camera,
peccant
when you
husband
get
out
on
to sea.
stage.
But don't worry. Come back to you in the end. All of her plot outlines have me leaving her and coming back to you because the audience won't buy a rejection of the happy American family. She does have one script in which I kill myself. An adapted for television version of Anna Karenina, where she's Count Vronsky and I'm Anna.
Slight expansion. Now
You're in for
contraction.
some dreadful grief, Max.
I know.
With continued practice, the actor can become very sensitive to their creative impulse, allowing increased nuance and subtlety in performance and giving the actor an enormous range from which to find truthful internal and external action on stage and in film. Continue to play with expansion and contraction. Don't forget to try the movement with different qualities, sensations, tempos, rhythms, and resistance. Let me know in the comments what, if anything, you got out of these exercises, and of course, any questions you may have about them. Please like, subscribe, and share this video with your colleagues and friends. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.